Hi, and welcome to the Firefly Adda, the virtual conversation starter, where we actually, bring in different thought leaders, talk about different diverse topics, bring out some deep insights and some good wisdom that which is on offer. Today's episode, is pretty much very well aligned to the days and times that each of us are actually facing during the lockdown periods. Everybody, more or less, is bound to be working from home, and that is what the discussion more or less is actually going to look like going forward in the next 30 odd minutes. So let me just quickly introduce you to our guest today, and it's my privilege to actually bring to the fore Nish Anil, technology evangelist and senior program manager with Microsoft. Hi, Nish.
Hey, Kush, thank you for having me here.
Wonderful, to actually get you here, and such a amazing setup. Pretty apt with what we're trying to sort of discuss here. The work from home sort of a setup, and just wanted to quickly see what's there on your T-shirt right now. I can't really
Oh,
figure that out. So what
yeah,
does it exactly mean?
that's called automate and chill. This is pretty much what I do for my living. I automate and chill. It's basically a Netflix font if you pay
Uh-huh.
attention to it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like yeah. So I do series of automation. So I'm just kidding. By the way, Kush, I want to tell you this. I mean, it's really amazing of you to do something like this, especially at a time where people are looking for motivational videos and looking for some tips and tricks on how to be better. So really amazing. Hats off to you for bringing this forum for everyone.
Thank you so much, and always a pleasure to have people like you on board. To share your pearls of wisdom, and for people to sort of understand, what they can actually sort of take away from these sort of platforms. So let's quickly get started. I'm looking at the kind of setup and alignment that you actually have, at your place, and it looks fabulous to say the least. So looks like, from my understanding, you have been working from home quite often, even before the lockdown period. So this doesn't sound or look something new to you.
Yeah.
So would you want to maybe share some pros and cons with our audience on how does it actually feel like working from home for longer periods?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't take me wrong. I mean, I'm not sitting in an office. I'm not moving around. This is my home, and basically, I've been working from home for the last 7 years, and it's really long
Wow.
time. Initially it looked very lucrative. Like oh yeah, you're going to work from home, right? I moved away from an employee working in the office, taking coffee breaks, to someone who is working in pajamas, waking up in the morning, getting to the work, and then eventually realizing, oh my God, this is not going to work this way. And I had to eventually change it, right? So 3 years ago, when we kind of remodeled our house, we decided, okay, we need to compromise on one bedroom for sure. I mean, you understand in Bangalore, if you have to compromise a single bedroom,
Yeah.
but luckily my wife and I, we came into that agreement. I mean, I've been working for so long that, there are times when in the night, when I have my calls, like generally I work on a different time zone. So my wife had to literally walk out of the bedroom so that I can have a video call. That's the kind of bedroom that we had. So
Hmm.
when we remodeled it, we kind of like pushed the bedroom little, and it's kind of a small space, so it kind of gave me seclusion. And I did all the floorings and other things in a way that it looks more like an office, so that it gives you a feeling. And when I come into the office, I'm always, you can see that it's all dressed up. I even have
Yeah.
my shoes. So psychologically, it makes me feel that I'm just working from office. So
Uh-huh.
the difference is, yeah, I don't meet people. That's for
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm.
So that's again, you asked about the pros and cons.
Hmm.
That's the con. Like you
Hmm.
don't take chai breaks, and you
Hmm.
can't catch up with people. You can't get into great point discussions with your friends or colleagues.
Hmm.
So those are the cons. Now, let me be very clear on this. I mean, the time that we have faced it in the past, but the thing that I have faced it in the remote working is very different from what is being faced right now. Because today the challenges are very different. I mean, during a pandemic situation, when you're quarantined and you're in a forceful lockdown, the challenges are very different. And for example, some of us are fighting hard with having kids,
Hmm.
homeschooled. trying to
Yeah.
catch up with their work,
Hmm.
keeping them optimistic, positive, and trying to figure out. Even I've seen this happen. Like, people are looking for extracurricular activities too. Like, they have their music classes, karate classes, and you're catching up on, and then you eventually have to come back and work, and that's very different, by the way. So
Yeah.
in reality, I would say it's far less challenging than what it looks today. But yeah, I can definitely share some of the tips and tricks around which I have gathered over the years. And also, I work for a boss who works remote. His
Hmm.
name is Scott Hanselman. You can Google him up. He's kind of a pioneer in kind of influencing the leadership about making remote work possible at Microsoft. So lucky for me that I get to hear a lot from him.
Hmm.
I read his blogs and I get to interact with him. So,
Hmm.
and also every single person in the team, they all are remote. So everyone is in different places. They're not working from the headquarters. So that makes it easy. Everyone understands each other. Everyone is empathetic. So when you literally are feeling low, you just tell everyone that you're low and you're taking off. And that's very cool about it. So those changes are very important as a team when you work from home. So yeah, then we can continue talking as much depending on what your questions are,
But
by the way.
I'm actually still mesmerized, and by the whole vibrance of your environment right now, the way it has actually been set up. It has been done really well. I want to really compliment you for that, and I'm pretty sure it actually plays very well in terms of you being pepped up and positive when you actually sit down at your cubicle. I mean I can call that a cubicle, so I hope
Yeah,
that's okay. And
I call it CEO's office.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. So it looks very vibrant and very nice. So that's really good. Now you did
Thank you.
mention about remote working and people bringing in that sort of a change in terms of the mentality that everything should actually go remote. And I actually saw one of the quotes from one of the very well-known CEOs from VMware, Pat Gelsinger, who actually did mention that this pandemic, in a way, will permanently change the way people are going to work. So, what is your take on this? And are we looking at maybe offices and infrastructure being passe? So, is it something that is actually going to get obsolete as we move ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I agree to a lot what he said. I mean, it is going to be different from what it is being today. I mean, I've seen the change in 7 years. I mean, I
Hmm.
worked for a company which was 100% remote. Every single employee were remote.
Hmm.
And when I went to Microsoft, there was the sudden change between a remote employee versus the employee who is in the headquarters, right?
Hmm.
And slowly that change has happened. Over the period of time, people are trying to accept, okay, people working from remote are really working and not really working from home or working for home, right?
Hmm.
So that kind of change has come up, which is very good. And now during this pandemic, I think people are. I think one thing this pandemic has done to all of us is it has just made us realize we are all about essential services.
Yeah.
So so I think when this lockdown gets lifted up, I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure every company is going to look at a phased manner to roll the workforces into the office.
Hmm.
So it is going to be about the essential team first and giving them that area sanitized and giving them that scope of work. And then these all these CXOs who's going to decide on which are the projects that needs immediate attention and kind of things that needs to keep the light bulbs on. So those kind of investments will go on. So it kind of creates that boundaries for among people and among the group of people as an employees, and it helps you define guidelines differently for different set of teams,
Hmm.
unlike the policies and things written very for everyone, right? I mean,
Yep.
it needn't be that way. So I think those things will definitely uh, change, and I think CXOs will look at keeping the jobs of the people and reducing the operational expenses probably,
Yeah.
right? So we will definitely see a lot of changes, but I don't see a phase where it's going to be completely obsolete, because there would be jobs where you need to be working in the offices. I know some of our teams work where they
Hmm.
have to work with the customer
Yeah.
details. They need a secured line and other kind of thing.
Hmm.
So there are data integrity issues and other things. I'm pretty sure there will be a lot of other jobs similar to that, which cannot be taken to homes or other network kind of other network basically. So yeah, there would
So
be changes for
you're
sure.
saying it's all going to be in phased manner. It all depends on the roles and responsibilities of the people, and basis the priority, they would actually open the offices in a phased manner, is what you're trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I anticipate. I mean, that's going. I mean, even the lockdown is going to be phased. lift up. I don't think
Hmm.
it's going to be an immediate thing. I mean, this is a situation where people has to be social distanced, right? So I
Yeah.
think and businesses have to run. So I think this is the time when people start looking at, okay, what are the most important things, and it will all be about keeping the product alive and looking at
Hmm.
different options to keep that alive, right? So collaborations tools are going to get better for sure.
Yeah.
And people are very open about collaboration tools. I mean, there are times when you go into the team meetings with someone who's actually keeping the video. I mean, your face is going to be like half the above the video, or someone is looking up because of the laptop
Hmm.
differences.
Yeah.
Those things have changed now. People are
Yeah.
literally looking at the screens and talking to each other, which is good. So I
Yeah.
think those kind of changes, mindset has changed, and
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure the leadership will look at how better to enable people to work from home rather than just bringing everyone to the office.
So I think technology is going to play a very primal part in getting things in order. You mentioned about a lot of collaboration tools and so on and so forth, and there are a lot of these business continuity, sort of technology solutions. So do you think all these sort of solutions are going to get, commoditized, going forward? Um, every industry is actually looking at these solutions, right? So are we looking at these tools actually going the consumer way as well to actually survive this?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I'll tell you, my piano classes are online now. I mean, I learned piano during
Yeah.
my free time,
Yeah.
and that's now online because
Yeah.
everyone have to do their business.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be like that. People have started to accept. I mean, we all are. I mean, living with supercomputers in our
Yeah.
pockets. So why not? Right? We just
Yeah.
have to take it up and use it. So I'm pretty sure about that. I mean, look at Prime Minister speaking directly to the panchayat.
Yeah.
We are seeing doctors from one country trying to learn from the expertise of another doctor from another
Mm.
country, diagnose this pandemic
Yeah.
situation, like diagnosing the diseases and things. So those collaboration, I mean think about it, like, at one point it would look almost impossible for doctors to consult online.
Yeah.
Now
True.
that's opening up for the smaller diseases. I mean, you don't even a headache or something very smaller, you don't really have to clog the hospitals, right? I mean,
Yeah.
leave them for the real good cases. So those things are changing, and I think those habits will change, and it'll open up for new businesses, and it is going to be the AI
Hmm.
and the collaboration tools that together. For example, the reason I brought up AI because now I see your screen where you have actually background has been blurred, and you have a beautiful this 505 circle logo and other
Yeah.
things, right? I mean,
Yeah.
imagine if I had this exact thing, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have built this office, right? I could have literally asked my wife to sleep, and I would
Yeah.
have room for everything. I think, yeah, the
Yeah.
collaboration tools is going to get better for sure.
Perfect. So I think you did mention about you, working from home for the longest period of time. So, and you did mention that you've actually put in, a significant effort in actually getting the setup right, so that you have the right kind of positivity, you have the right kind of aura going into the room, so that it actually makes you more productive and more efficient. So, do you
Yeah.
like have some sort of recommendations or some sort of best practices that you can actually throw out for our audience who can actually sort of pick that up and use it to their benefit and gain in building their own sort of a home office?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you don't. You have to, again, if you're building a home office, it has to be in a phased manner. Like,
Yeah.
I did not build this
Yeah.
overnight. It
Yeah.
took long years of collecting the feedbacks of
Hmm.
how I've been working and how I can improve.
Yeah.
So I think it should start with a good bandwidth of internet. I think that's something which I've seen a lot of people having challenges
Hmm.
with, because when you're spending 9 hours a day or 10 hours a day, including the commute at offices, and when you come back, you really don't care about the internet anymore. It's all
Yeah.
about the streaming, right?
Yeah.
So I think that has to change. I mean, the bandwidth has to be thought through, especially in a situation like pandemic here. I would suggest, if you are stuck at home without a good internet, your phones have mobile network and mobile data. So avoid connecting that to the Wi-Fi.
Hmm.
You can just leave that as is, and then use those internet for your
Yeah.
working, right?
Hmm.
And same, if you when you with the moment you come out of the pandemic, probably upgrade your router to have some support like quality of services, where right now when I'm chatting with you, whenever we are recording this, I have my entire family watching something on Netflix, but
Hmm.
I'm actually chill about that, right?
Yeah.
So and that's because in my router I have set this configuration that whenever someone is on VoIP, it
Hmm.
gets the 100% bandwidth, and the rest of
Hmm.
the bandwidth flows into the other one. So as long as the internet that comes into my house is
Hmm.
good, it's going to retain good for our communication. So there are a few things like that you can make
Hmm.
changes, and the other quick changes. I mean, this is something which I've suggested to a lot of people who who actually looked at my work from home videos on Instagram and asked me
Mm-hmm.
a few questions, which monitor to go for or which router to go for. I've
Mm-hmm.
answered a few things like that. I'll share that with you here.
Sure.
It's a good thing to have a monitor because you get a larger real estate and you can work very easily.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's not your immediate solution, I think the easiest thing is to buy a laptop stand,
Yeah.
because you do not want to take your laptop and look directly deep into it unless you have a desktop that you got from your office.
Yeah.
But if you're working from laptop,
Mm-hmm.
keeping this neck down, it's okay for one or two calls, but then you sit together for like a month, you'll start to have fatigue in your neck, and it's going to be very troublesome. So find a laptop stand and pull it up, and then go with an external keyboard and mouse, and that's something which you can immediately fix it for your ergonomics.
Mm-hmm.
And desk and a chair is 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
do not sit on a beanbag, do not sit on a sofa.
Yeah.
Try to working. It kind of, I mean, it's okay. It's kind of cool because
Mm-hmm.
you're in the initial stages of work from home, but eventually you'll start hurt your back so badly. It's not gonna work very well. And if you have problems with the eyes, you should get some computer glasses like this. So if you're staring at the screen for a longer time, so that will definitely help you. So yeah, a few things like that. I can go on and on and on. Buy a good headset. If you have kids at home roaming around and you don't want to be distracted, yes, this definitely helps. Something like that.
Yeah.
Like now,
No,
yeah,
ergonomics, like you mentioned, is actually really paramount, and it actually is directly related to anybody's efficiency and productivity. So you didn't mention a right seating arrangement, a right posture. So is there something associated with the posture as well? So the alignment of your monitor in a certain, angle, which can actually help you be a lot more, sort of productive and efficient and not really harm your neck. You did mention, about the neck aspect coming into the picture because you're constantly straining your neck. So is there some sort of
yeah.
an alignment in terms of that you can actually sort of let our audience know about?
Yeah, I mean, always look to your monitor very straight. I mean, that's
Hmm.
simple as that, right? And keep it at a height where you can reach your eye length is going to be like, you can reach from the monitor top to the bottom. Don't look up like that, or don't
Yeah.
look down like that.
Yeah.
Just keep it very straight. And when you talked about ergonomics, one thing I forgot to mention is get a good chair, and
Yeah.
always buy the chair. Try it out, because I don't know, many of you do not. I don't know, probably some of you don't know. The chairs that the office folks give you are the
Hmm.
most expensive chairs because they are built for ergonomics.
Hmm.
And I tried to buy one, and it cost me 90,000, and I
Hmm.
stopped thinking about buying a chair. But I've been using this chair for like the last 14 years,
Hmm.
and I have not had any
Wow.
issues with the back. So yeah, and it's really cheap. It's not that expensive. It's like 2,000 or 3,000 that I paid long
Uh-huh.
back, I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
But then sit down, figure it out, see what works best for your back, and then pick a chair. Do not buy it online. I mean, very unlike of me to tell that, but
Hmm.
I would not suggest buying a chair online. Go try it out, or if you have an online which service which can take it back, then do that for sure.
So
um,
very importantly, you didn't mention about looking at the screen. I mean, all of us are looking at the screen, all the time. So that brings in a lot of screen, fatigue.
yeah,
So you
yeah,
did mention about going ahead with some sort of, a screen map on your monitor, which can actually sort of help you protect your eyes. So is there anything else beyond that somebody can actually think about, taking some constant breaks, in between? Because most of us get so drained into, doing our
yeah,
work that we actually almost forget that we're supposed to, maybe stand up and, stretch ourselves and
yeah,
take that tad bit little break, have a maybe sip of
yeah.
water, and then settle down. So is there something around that you actually sort of do on a constant basis?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. I mean, one thing that I forgot to mention when it comes to working from home, it's all about discipline, right?
Yeah.
It's all about when to, like, I initially talked about like waking up and get to the work. I've
Yeah.
stopped that long years ago.
Hmm.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So I take a shower, I dress up
Hmm.
for work, and then I
Wow.
walk into the room, and then I start working.
Hmm.
Now when that's the discipline I was talking about. And when you have to cut off, you need to cut off. So
Yeah.
but then you have to work out a time that works for you. For example, I have a time that I need to connect with my remote teams,
Hmm.
and they happen to be on the west side, and so their 9 a.m. is for me 9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
So instead of working in the morning and then connecting back in the night, what I do is I start in the afternoon and then expand so that I can include those meetings in my work hours,
Hmm.
so that I don't overburn myself, right? Now that's one thing. The other thing is when you are at work, I use a technique called Pomodoro,
Uh-huh.
and that's a very simple technique, which is like you focus on a work for 25 minutes, and then immediately after 5 minutes you take break, and you literally walk out of the office and just roam around, stretch yourself, and then come back. So if you start initially, it's very hard
Mm-hmm.
because I mean I work in something like engineering. When I'm stuck with the code, I'm
Yeah.
like done with it forever. Like I'm just
Mm-hmm.
stuck there for so much
Yeah.
time. But over a period of time, I figured it out. I mean, it's not working really well. So I kind of break it out. I take the task and I come back to the same task after the
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes break. So that's also a good
So
thing that I
that's
mean,
a
and try it out. I
25-5
mean,
principle, is it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's called Pomodoro. I mean, you
Yeah.
can search up
Yeah.
Pomodoro, and that's the principle that I've taken from that Pomodoro. It's all about
Yeah.
clocking. I mean, there are tools. I have a
Mm-hmm.
Pomodoro app that I
Mm-hmm.
run it.
Yep.
So after 25 minutes, it just gives me a break, and then I just take a break and come back. And I also use an app called Forest. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
you noticed that Forest app.
No, I
So
haven't.
that's a very nice app. Actually, it's not expensive, it's very cheap. So
Mm-hmm.
basically each time you do that, it actually kind of plants a tree. So you can see that this is 25 minutes that I start,
Yep.
and once it finishes, it plants a tree, and it's really amazing. So you are actually helping the ecosystem as well.
Oh,
um,
nice.
so so this technique is good. It's working. It works so far. It worked
Mm-hmm.
with me for so far. And interesting that you brought up about the eyes, the vision
Yeah.
for your or when you're using on the computer. There are some really nice screen utilities that you can use to reduce the white light on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
and I do that because it affects my sleep very badly.
Yep. Okay.
Because I stay up late, and
Mm-hmm.
I have become an insomniac. That's another day. But it's challenging to get catch up sleep. So these
Mm-hmm.
are tools that you can use. I mean, Windows 10, if you're using it, you can go into the night mode, so it reduces the bright lights on you. It's there on your phone as well. Like you can just use those reduce those and add yellow light so that it helps you sleep. So few techniques like that you can take up to improve your ergonomics at work.
Wow, that is a good amount of detailing. So that actually brings me to a very essential question. So there are a lot of us who are like, downright extroverts and, not somebody
Mhm.
who would, be confined into, one room and do our work and just be relaxed about it. So we always have this urge of catching up and meeting people and need to have that physical contact, but unfortunately that is not something that we can really expect to happen now as we see things. So what
Yep.
would you recommend such people? I mean, obviously there is an easy way out by telling, okay, we actually go the digital way and go through the digital mediums and digital platforms and stay connected, but does that actually sort of give them the same feeling? I don't know. So any recommendations around that?
Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, I've been someone who has always been traveling
Yeah.
I mean, it was there was a time when I used to travel like twice a week, either
Yeah.
in different cities or different countries, and I know what you're talking about. I mean, I used to go to conferences, speak to a lot of people, have a nice time, and then come back home
Yeah.
all energized and all things.
Yeah.
And suddenly,
Yeah.
that's what I was telling you. The pandemic situation is very, very different,
Hmm.
and we are all trying to learn how do we cope up with this thing. And as you brought up, I'm pretty sure we are. This is going to be this way for a long time from now,
Hmm.
um, until we find a vaccine and people are okay to
Yep.
move around.
Yep. Yep.
Traveling and other things would change. So yes, we have seen this happen. Some of our conferences have gone digital,
Hmm.
and we have had fair amount of success with that too. There are collaboration tool that's going to help. For example, when you're on the videos and you can chat, there is a separate chat room where you can still interact with people, have conversations and that kind of things. And there are some fun activities that are also being, people do it within the chat rooms and that kind of things. So I know there are technologies and tools that is going to help change these things, but I think for a long time, all of us are going to find hard to cope up with this new
Yeah.
normal. And I think it's time will only tell us, how this is going to work out. But yeah, I think it's going to be like this for a long time from now.
I think we just have to tune our mind and embrace the situation and sort of adapt and move ahead. I think that's the only way forward.
Yep.
And personally, for me, I mean, me working from home, it's been about a month. It has not been that great an experience because
Hmm.
honestly, you're actually working long hours and you're actually constantly, on virtual meetings. You hardly actually sort of move an eyelid. And as you look at your watch, the time actually sort of flies as well. And eventually,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, you actually feel so drained out and so fatigued. Um,
yeah,
so where does this all end? I mean, you mentioned about discipline, right? So I think that's something obviously is a key takeaway for all of us. And change, right? So I mean, we'll have to look at changing. So any sort of
yeah.
advice in terms of how at least I can actually sort of get my way through these rough times and be a lot more disciplined. Maybe some few tips around that.
Yeah.
So if you can maybe help me out.
Yeah. Honestly, I can spend an hour with you explaining that, but I'm going to keep it
Yeah,
very simple.
yeah,
So, this is a true challenge. I mean, I truly understand this,
yeah.
where you come from. But I'll tell you, during this pandemic situation, if you're dragged into meetings and you can really chat with another person, it's a good
Mhm.
thing because you're actually interacting with another human being,
Yeah.
and your work and you're busy.
Yeah.
That keeps you going.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you my situation, and I'll give you some. Maybe you can extract something out if it works for you. All my meetings are in the late evenings,
Hmm.
so that way I'm not getting dragged into any meetings and that kind of thing. So morning hours I have this time for focusing. Like, I have my calendar literally has times like focus times,
Hmm.
and when my calendar goes on focus time, the team's communication collaboration tool that we use, that automatically sets in do not disturb mode,
Okay.
and people don't can't ping me. I mean, they can ping me, of course, but I won't get any notifications. So I'm in that
Hmm.
focus mode. Now, how do I attend to this? The one way I do that is basically, than being time driven, I go task driven. So I know exactly in a week what I need to attend to. So if those are important tasks that requires my input, like, I have to involve myself. So if that is the task, there are a few other things like just which you can defer, delegate. There are some rules that you can follow. I mean, if it's something that I do it quickly, but if there's some tasks that I need to really work on it, I put them as my task in a week. And it could be simply, I use book all the
Hmm.
time, even though I'm digital. So I write down these things in a week, and
Hmm.
I plan my day, one day before, seeing what can be done the next day. So I take that focus time completely on getting those tasks. And so once I do that, I have the rest of the time when I have to go on at meetings and other things. Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. So uh, during your time, I think one thing, because your entire teammates may be working in the same time zone,
Yeah.
you may not have that focus time. So probably I think one way to tell them is maybe, you can tell them that few hours that you will be available for calls, and block your mornings so that work with you. I mean, if there are recurring meetings, and those are something which you can work with your teams to move it in the later. Maybe afternoon times are really good because it quickly gets you into sleepy mode, especially if you're home. The beds are not far, just few
Yeah.
feet away. So
Yeah.
that is the time to take up your coffee or tea, and then
Hmm.
talk chai pe charcha, right? So
Yeah.
so do those meetings and things. I mean, find that time. I mean, if you're a morning person, find that morning hours and beautiful
Okay.
time that you spend for the task. So yeah, be task driven. I think then you will see after a week, your
Mhm.
task would be completed. So that's something which you can try.
Okay, so the next one I think is more from the business side of things. So this is actually a great shift, a great change for businesses as well. Organizations haven't maybe seen such scenarios,
Mhm.
even though they have business contingency plans, business continuity plans. But what are some of the best practices that you can actually sort of derive that businesses can actually pick up, to get the operations running remotely? So anything in your mind around that?
Yeah, I mean, I think as I mentioned to you, once I think this is a true test time for all the
Yeah.
companies to
Mhm.
figure how many tasks, how good are their tasks for when working remote, right?
Yeah.
So once they draw the lines of which are the most essential ones, like some of the support systems and security systems and other things can't work remote, so they need to be in the office. So figure that different ways out for them, and really have work from home benefits written out for the employees. And also train your managers really, really well. And this is very important because if you're a people manager, you need to really understand what your employee goes through
Yeah.
as a day when he's trying to work, because work life is not two different things when you're working from home. It's gets mixed up easily.
Yeah.
So you know train your managers to work with your employees to see how they can improve their productivity. And I've seen that happen more than writing work from home guidelines. If you are having an informal talk with your managers, and most often you're super productive
Yeah.
because there's someone to look after you at work. Even if you are not in the office, someone knows how these things are going,
Yeah.
and have regular meetings with other colleagues and that kind of thing. So and also do all those fun activities online so that everyone is involved. I tell you some situations where in at work, when you have hallway conversations, where those all those amazing thing happen and people come to the meetings, and now I'm sitting in the meeting and trying to understand, and they are giggling at a joke that I have no idea what
Yeah.
they talked about. So now that has changed, right? Now, so
Yeah.
you have to change your systems to, it has gone to a group chat, so everyone is aware of the discussion that's happening, everyone is involved in this discussion.
Yeah.
So when you go into a meeting, voice chat or video chat, you are in the context.
Yeah.
So write those guidelines for specifically for managers and teams to kind of involve, even if there's one person remote, who's working from home, who's not able to make to work that day, it's fine, involve them in that kind of conversation. So a few things like that is very important. I think you mentioned about the not to have micromanagement when you send me the notes.
Yeah.
That's yes. I mean, I've not had a micromanaging manager for a very long time, so I don't know how this works now.
Yeah.
But yes, micromanagement is really bad. I mean, you have to have a goal, a vision that your company and your team works on, and then it's all about delivering values to those.
I think those are great points, Nish. So we did speak quite a bit about working from home. I think it's very relevant for people who actually have jobs which are actually aligned and which are actually provisioned to be capitalized to be working from home. But what about sectors like manufacturing or maybe some aviation related sectors where work from home is not a possibility at all? So what would your advice be to such people?
Yeah, such people at this time, I think glad that you asked this question, because I understand if you're able to work from home, I think we have the luxury. We
Yeah.
have the luxury of keeping the job. We have the
Absolutely.
luxury of keeping the salaries, and yet do things. I mean, of course, we have the challenges. I mean, we discuss about those challenges,
Yeah.
but then it's a great thing to have a job and then do things. So with all due respect to everyone out there, it's also important to know that there are certain sectors which cannot work from home. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, you're right. I mean, I have a friend who's a chef who's kind of like trying to figure out like what to do when there is his hotel is not running the business, right?
Hmm.
But he's doing some great stuffs, like he's gone into making cooking videos, and he's learning about video editing and other kind of things. So I can tell you from the person I have seen him directly,
Hmm.
upskilling or reskilling is a good opportunity right now if you are looking to figure a way out to fight through this time, because I know it's going to be really really hard, and it's going to be there like this for some more time.
Yeah.
So hold yourself up,
Hmm.
don't give up, because there are people out there to help you. And if you're someone who knows someone, call them up, speak to them regularly, tell them that you're there for them, because I mean that's the good beauty of our cultures, right? We can
Yeah.
stay for each other and lift ourselves up, right? So I think that's very important. And for those people who are stuck like that, maybe you had an instrument that you wanted to learn for ages, maybe you wanted to read a book that you want to do for a long time, do that. This is the time, and things are going to be better. I'm pretty sure we shall overcome this.
Absolutely. And these are some great thoughts, Nish. So just a couple of more questions, and then we, sort of close our discussion for today. Very importantly, so when do you see this ending? So, and is it at all going to end? And if it does, then how are people going to sort of cope up, and how is post COVID-19 looking like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very optimistic about that. It is definitely going to be, I wouldn't say ending, but I would say in a better position for all of us.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very different for sure. I mean, there's a lot of new normals out there, and and some intellects are telling this is just pandemic one, and we can see this coming every 20 years, because the lifestyle that we're taking the planet for granted.
Yeah.
So things are going to be like that. But I think um, there is a lot of change among people. I mean, I don't know if you notice this. I mean, today, if you chat with in a social media or a WhatsApp and thing, you can literally chat with people, not forwarding messages. You can literally chat and ask, how they're doing,
Yeah,
which was not the case. I mean, we
yeah,
used to probably they used to catch up on weekends and other kind of things. But then now it's okay to just give a call to someone and talk to them. So I think those things have changed, and things have changed for good. I mean, I do not know if you face this. I mean, I had this challenge when I was working from home. I literally wanted to speak to another person,
yeah.
and when I tried to call up someone, they are busy with their work. But today when I call up, they are available for talking, because like, yeah, what were you doing all this
Yeah,
while? Right.
yeah,
So I think that change is good.
yeah,
I mean, even though we are socially distant, we are socially more connected,
yeah.
and I think we will figure a new way of working together and collaborating and still delivering values. Those things will be good, and yeah, it's nothing to be scared about. It's all about facing it together and staying for each other.
That's right. So, one last one. So,
Mhm.
always my favorite. So, one success mantra that you would want, our audience to take away from today.
I really don't believe in a success mantra. I mean, to be very honest with you, and the reason for that is success definition is different to different individuals.
Hmm.
So you have to define what success means to you and define your goals to achieve that, right? But I think there are a few things that one I would tell you, which has remained with me for a very very long time, is from my manager, who apparently he wrote this blog as
Hmm.
well. It's about, don't live your life with defaults, or don't take your life and customize it. Take control of your life and further customize it and make it better. um, Simple example to give you, take a TV remote, for example, in your living room, and see how many switches have faded away.
Yeah.
If you look at it, it's the power button, volume, and channel, and you wouldn't have used any other feature. And so yeah, it's really funny. I mean, I have a
Yeah.
friend of mine who actually didn't know his TV supported picture-in-picture mode, which is like, his kid can watch a movie and he can also watch another one at the same time. And he had this beautiful, amazing TV. So we all live our lives in defaults. Like, we
Hmm.
don't really go one step further to figure out how can we make this better for us.
Hmm.
We all live with the supercomputers, we do for calls and other things, but there are many things that you can do. Make it work for you. There are apps that can help you be more productive. You want to be secluded, be silent, there are apps to help you with that. You want to be, if you're a fitness like freak like you, right?
Yeah.
And you want to be, you're such an amazing person. I've seen your videos on fitness and other things. You're so dedicated and committed. You can make these tools work for you, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't have a guided person to help you. So what I'm saying is, there are things that you can customize and take control of your life, and that's something which you need to do. That is something which has remained with me forever, and I've been trying to practice that, and it kind of helps me. Like, you wake up charged, and you know that you're in full control, and that's a good feeling. So I don't think it's a success mantra, but it's a good mantra to follow every day.
No, that's a good one, Nish. Thank you so much for being a part of the Firefly Adda. I'm pretty sure, the wisdom that, came out of this video will actually be really influential in these coming days for people to sort of, realign, regroup, and understand, how work from home really is done. So thank you so
Mhm.
much. And, you take care.
Always a pleasure talking to you, and thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you.